Well, we've got with us a very special guest joining us, Mark Galasiewski, editor of Asian Pacific Financial Forecast, Elliott International, joins us on the phone. Mark, morning. I'm sorry if I got your last name pronounced incorrect, but what are you making of what's going on with the sort of sell-off the Nifty has been seeing? A lot of people are talking about levels of 4,100, 4,500, probably the first stop before we head down to levels of 4,100.
Well, good morning to you. I can hear you fine. I don't know if your technicians have put charts on the screen that I prepared, but from an Elliott wave perspective, what we're dealing with is a decline from the 2010 highs. It's called a triple zigzag. And your technicians may note that the entire decline fits very neatly into a trend channel. From our perspective, these are three zigzag corrections connected by two other intervening upward corrections. And that's slated to end sometime within the next month, perhaps, around the 4,400 level in the Nifty. If we go much below that, then we'll have to consider that this is not the correct interpretation. But at this point, it's very possible that we'll see the end to the correction within the next month at the 4,400 level.
Mark, morning. If the Nifty breaks that 4,400 mark and makes even lower low, say 4,200 or 4,300, in that case, what would be the next target on the Nifty?
Well, at that point we have a falling knife, and we'd have to look and see. At that point, I would say you'd have to cover your positions, I can't give you a downside target. Let's get to 4,400, and then we'll talk again.
Mark, but around 4650 is where we trade right now. Is it going to be a one-way move to levels of 4,400? Will it give investors any sort of opportunity to sort of exit the market if you're sitting long, or it seems like it could be one way down?
From an Elliott wave perspective, there's a lot of things that can happen. It can go straight down within the next day or two, or it can bounce around a bit for the next week and then continue down. So unfortunately, that's a very short-term call that I can't provide.
And Mark, if it does actually bounce back, does it seem a little more optimistic, or that seems to be, again, not a very realistic picture emerging?
You're talking short-term call?
I am talking short to medium term.
Yeah, short to medium term. Well, I prefer to focus on what's coming. I really think there's a low approaching, and for some support for that, I'd like to suggest that you take a look at the IT index, the CNX IT index. What we're seeing here is what we'll interpret as a bullish divergence. Much like in early 2009, the Nifty held up strongly while the IT index continued going lower. We're seeing the same thing, but in inverse. The Nifty has continued falling vis-a-vis the August lows, while the IT index has held up strongly. So I don't see very much downside in the general market, because the IT index is holding up very well, and that indicates that the animal spirits that should drive the next rise, the advance, are already in place.
Mark, finally, and this is again a hypothetical question, if the Nifty breaks 4,400 and you said it could be falling knife, in that case, could we have a 2009 kind of scenario where there's absolutely no bottom, and within 4 to 5 days we have a massive fall?
Sell-off? Oh, like in 2008 perhaps is what you're comparing it to, the steep sell-off?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, certainly, and if it breaks that 4,400 level, that is certainly a possibility that we'll have to consider. I can't deny that. But again, let's see what happens when we get to 4,400. I'm quite optimistic, actually.
Right, great. Thanks a ton, Mark, for taking us through that. So it was Mark, 4,400. So it's not as bad as the 4,100 and 3,800 levels that we've been hearing. Well, it's a little bit of hope, right? I'd say.
Yeah, but he did say that if it breaks 4,400, it's falling knife. But yeah, I mean, the